Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sichas Haran shir. Tonight, we're going to be doing Sikha number 78. And I want to dedicate this shir to Refuah Shlema for all the injured people that were hurt in Meron, and also to all the people who are in mourning. I hope they find comfort very soon. So tonight, we're going to discuss Yosher, which is uprightness. In this piece, we're going to see that, I read from Rebbe Nachman's wisdom, and it's translated, the word Yosher is translated as fairness, but I'm going to keep on interchanging the word because it's kind of like this justice, uprightness, Yoshrei Lev. So in Tehillim a bunch, it's this uprightness of the heart, I guess. So let's dive in, and we'll go through the piece. Mirz Hashem. Okay, let me just pull up the share screen. Okay. Fairness. Sorry, just adjusting the screens. Okay. Fairness, this word again, Yosher, is in every place. A person may commit every outrage, but he still has a sense of fairness. It may be blunted, but it still exists. So in every place, there is this uprightness, this justice. And a person might sin nonstop, right? But deep inside him, he still has this humanity, this justice, this fairness within him. There are people who can immediately sense any unfairness. Others do not sense it until after they have committed some wrong. Still others feel no remorse until they have committed a number of offenses. But each man has his limit. There's a degree of outrage that stimulates a sense of fairness in every man. So there are certain people who are like very sensitive to this personal uprightness. They have like a conscience. So like, they know right from wrong. They're able to tell like, this is the right thing to do. This is the wrong thing to do. Others, they need to, they might do an avira and then they realize, okay, that was wrong. And others, they might do avira after avira after avira. And then one day it hits them like this conscience hit in, this humanity, it hit them hard and they realize that they did something wrong, that they committed a sin. So basically, just simply, every person and every being has this innate sense of goodness, of humanity, of fairness, of justice. And for some, it's more revealed, and for some, it's more hidden. It like reminds me of a person who gossips a lot, right? A gossiper. And they're so used to their sin, and it might take them a very long time until they realize, okay, I really got to stop talking about other people and hurting people in this way. And then other people are just so sensitive to it, and they're so careful with every word that comes out of their mouth. So everyone has their own limit and their own sense of consciousness inside of them. Okay, moving on. Rebbe Nachman, was once in a small village. A military commander had come there demanding horses, saying they were needed to carry mail. The villagers bribed him to leave them in peace. They kept their horses, and the officers had some easy money. Soon, one of his junior officers arrived. The commander convinced him that he should also try this trick. The second officer went to the villagers and also demanded horses for the mail. He was also bribed and walked away with a tidy sum. A third officer then passed through the town. He was really in charge of the mail and was short several animals. He actually needed the horses and would not be satisfied with the bribe. A village chief went and pleaded before the commander. The people had already paid 2 bribes, but would still have their horses taken. At this point, even the commander recognized the unfairness of the situation. He ordered the officer in charge of the mail to leave the villagers alone, and the horses were not taken. This same commander had already robbed the villagers without qualm. He had even advised his junior officer to do the same. It took 2 crimes before his sense of fairness could even begin to function. But by the third time, even he realized that the situation was hardly fair. It was then that he ordered that the village be left alone. Right? So Rebbe Nachman is telling the story about a commander who went to a village and he wanted to steal some horses, but the people bribed him not to. So he walked away with his money. He was happy. Then he told his friends, the junior officer, go try this trick, go to the village and tell them you're going to take their horses, and then they'll bribe you, and you'll have a nice, some cash in your pocket. And so the junior officer did that, and he was happy. And then the third guy, who actually really needed the horses for the mail, came around, and the people, were like, oh my gosh, we're going to have to pay another guy or have our horses taken anyways. So they went to the main commander, and even the commander had some humanity in him after that point, and he felt bad, and he made sure that the villagers didn't lose their horses, right? Like it took him 2 times to actually feel bad, but by the third time he did. So in every person, there's some humanity, right? Fair, and Rebbe Nachman says over here, fairness exists everywhere. It may be buried, but it can always be accessed. So this humanity, it exists everywhere. And, for some people, it's deep, deep inside. A person has to commit a lot of offenses before that guilty conscience starts to awaken. But it's there. Either way, it's there. So I don't have the answer to this, but question for all of you. You can leave your comments leave your answers in the comment section. Do you think this is true with Amalek? Because, right away my thoughts take me to Nazis. Do they have this innate fairness, this uprightness where they have this guilty conscience, or do they have it, and it's just really, really covered, or it doesn't exist at all? So I don't know. I'm not sure. So, okay, just thought about it as I was preparing. Okay, moving on. It is written in the Zohar that even the left side, the side of evil, contains both right and left. Even the unholy has a spark of the divine. The left side has a right, even though its right may not even reach the left side of holiness. The right side is fairness. It even exists on the other side. But on the other side, righteousness and fairness begin very late, even after the fairness of the left side of holiness. Understand this. So Rebbe Nachman says from the Zohar that there's this left side, which is evil, this evil side, right? And even this evil side has some right in it. It has some goodness. It has some humanity there. But again, he's telling us it's not the right side. It's the left side with some right. It's not the right side, where righteousness and goodness really take place. So Rebbe Nachman says that the righteousness in evil, says that righteousness is much further down the road. So I don't know, when I read this, I imagined a stage, there's left stage, which is evil, and then there's center left, which maybe is the humanity in the evil, the goodness in the evil, but it's still very far from right stage, which is goodness, which is truth, which is justice. It's worlds away. So, but, according to this, it seems that Amalek does have this bit of fairness too, but it's still miles and miles away from goodness. It's not coming anywhere near goodness. It's just some type of consciousness, guilty conscience that they might have, some type of humanity that's inside of them. I don't know. So either way, right? There's this hierarchy, there's evil on the bottom, then there's this humanity, and then there's truth, and then goodness and emunah, and all the good stuff. So I wanted to talk a bit more about truth because yoshar, uprightness, straightforwardness, I think it's pretty close to truth, and it's always a good topic to talk about truth, right? So I'm bringing in this piece. I wanted to share a piece with you. It's Torah number 7 from from Lekutey Maharan. I'm just bringing in a small piece. Let me just pull up the share screen again. Okay. Rotate. Here we go. The only way to attain faith is through truth. So Rebbe Nachman's telling us the only way that a person can come to emunah, can come to faith, is through truth. It's through emet. Faith is only applicable in the case of something which cannot be understood rationally. Where one can understand something rationally, there's no question of faith being involved at all. But there are certain things which can never be understood rationally. How can one come to have faith in the things one must believe in? Faith depends on truth. So just to recap that a little bit, right? Like there are certain things that are just truth, right? Like this computer mouse, it's right here. It's the truth. Like there's nothing, I don't need faith to believe that this mouse is right here. It's here. I see it. But for things that are harder that we don't see, like questions of, emunah and Hashem, that we need emunah for. That we have to jump from truth to faith. Okay, faith depends upon truth. If you will only search for the truth with complete honesty, you will eventually realize that you must have faith in God, in the true tzaddikim, and in the Holy Torah. You will realize that in spite of the fact that such faith is not something that is susceptible to our rational understanding, bound as our rational faculties are by the material nature of our existence. If you think about things with uncompromising honesty, you will get a glimmer of understanding that this really is the truth. Reason will not help you. You need faith that is strong and total. Understand this well. So Rebbe Nachman says that in order to get this emunah, you need to search with truth. Like a person, I just want to find the line, but you need to really, here we go. If you will only search for the truth with complete honesty, you will eventually realize that you must have faith in God and in true tzaddikim and in the Holy Torah. So by searching for things honestly and for searching for things sincerely, it's going to, at some point, you're going to have this jump into faith. So this truth is a stepping stone to this faith. So I'm going to speak for myself at this point. With the latest events with Meron, definitely there was, this feeling that I had of not understanding, right? Like this lack of faith, and I don't know, like as I was preparing this piece, it just kind of hit me about this honesty, and searching honestly. And when I read this piece about searching honestly, like it really made me feel my pain of everything that happened. And just an interesting thing happened from that feeling of really honestly accepting my pain and accepting my hurt. I mean, obviously I still don't understand anything and I have no idea how something like that could happen, but I did have this feeling of comfort. And I guess, you could kind of explain it as faith. Like I had this tiny bit more of emunah through accepting this truth of my pain. And I think Rebbe Nachman talks about it in a lot of places about just like say, like we did it a few weeks ago, like about praying in truth, just like saying one word of truth while you pray. And it's your personal truth. And I think through people experiencing their personal truth, you grow in faith that way. And like, you're able to bring it up to Hashem. So, that was just my personal experience that I felt that I should share, because it just happened to me as I was preparing this year, as I was reading this piece. But again, it's searching honestly. That's really what Rebbe Nachman's saying here. Search honestly, like search within you, within yourself, within your truth, and Mirz Hashem, like it will bring you to this faith, to this emunah. And I think like at times like this, or maybe I should even say at years like this, you know, we really do need the faith. We need the emunah. And I found another amazing Torah about emunah that I also want to share with everybody, you know, because I keep on hearing about people talking about the achdus that's going on right now in Eretz Yisrael, and how the whole country is really like mourning together. And this piece, I don't know, I thought it just like hit the nail on the head. So I'm gonna share it with you. And I hope in no way I'm speaking out of turn, or these are just my thoughts that came to me and nothing more. So if I offend anyone with this, I'm not trying to like explain things, or I'm not here to do that. Just putting that as a little disclaimer. Okay, so I found this piece in, this piece is from Lekutey Maharan, Torah number 18. And again, this is just like a small portion of the piece that I brought in. The less faith there is, the more the face of God is concealed, and the more fiercely his anger burns, right? So the less emunah that Klal Yisrael has, the less bitachon that Klal Yisrael has, then Hashem hides himself. Hashem hides himself, and his anger burns. At such times, the tzaddikim shy away from accepting positions of authority and honor, and the world is left without true leadership. So not only is Hashem hiding, but the tzaddikim hide too, and there's no real leadership going on. But if people learn to hold their anger in check and to break the force of anger by showing love instead, so if people learn to not have personal anger, but just to have love for the people around them, then Hashem's own anger will be sweetened. The true tzaddikim will again be willing to accept roles of leadership and honor, and the world will be ready for the true leader who has the power to bring each person to his own complete fulfillment. So when Klal Yisrael starts to just feel love for one another, then Hashem's anger is mitigated, and the tzaddikim start to take roles of leadership, and Mirz Hashem, and through that, the true leader, Mashiach, he has the power through that to bring each person to their own fulfillment, to their own potential. So again, like this just reminded me so much about, you know, what we all just went through, like with, you know, this anger that's burning, and then Klal Yisrael just feeling love for one another and trying to have this achdus together. And through that, I'm just trying to give us all a bracha here, like through that, Mirz Hashem, Mashiach will come. The true leader will come. So again, just to give us all a bracha here, the one true leader, you know, should take his role, and we should be led to the building of the Beis HaMikdash very soon. So thank you again, everybody, for listening, and have a wonderful night.